Welcome to the web tutorial, Applying for NHATS Restricted Data. In this tutorial, you will learn how to apply for the NHATS Restricted Data available in partnership with the Michigan Center on the Demography of Aging, or MiCDA. Note that NHATS CMS linked files require a separate application process. Instructions to apply for NHATS CMS files are available through the NHATS website. The MiCDA Virtual Data Enclave provides remote access to the NHATS Restricted Data repository through a virtual desktop infrastructure. Data remain on the MiCDA Enclave servers and are accessed and analyzed by approved users virtually via an encrypted connection. Login to the Enclave requires two-factor authentication. Data files cannot enter or be removed from the NHATS repository by the researcher. Output and programs are reviewed for disclosure risk by the repository director or their designee prior to removal. Users agree to access data only from locations specified in the MiCDA Data Security Plan form. Users agree not to transcribe results as specified in MiCDA's Secure Data Enclave Acceptable Use Policy, and not to attempt to identify subjects as specified in the ISR Pledge of Confidentiality. Restricted files available through the MiCDA Enclave include, for example, NHATS geographic files, NHATS restricted tracker files, NSOC geographic files, and the 1940 census linkage files. For a complete listing, see the online application. To be eligible for NHATS restricted data, the requester must have a PhD or MD degree and hold a faculty or research position at a university, research institution, or U.S. government agency. Students and postdoctoral fellows may have a faculty member sponsor their application by serving as the requesting investigator. Let's take a look at the restricted data application. To access the restricted data application, navigate to the NHATS researchers website and click on the Data Access button. This will lead you to the Restricted Files page, which shows you the application process. To obtain the restricted NHATS files, complete the three-stage process shown here. The following forms must be submitted to apply for access to NHATS restricted data. First, the investigator form. The investigator form requires the investigator's information about students, if applicable, and information about the applicant's institution. The project form asks for the project title and abstract, a short 2 to 3 page research plan, the CV or bio sketch for the investigator and co-investigators, a copy of an award letter documenting research funds and the sources of these funds, and a copy of IRB approval. Requesters should check off all files that are being requested, as well as a list of any files that the user plans to bring into the Enclave and any plans for linking those data here on the Restricted File Request form. The Restricted Data Use Agreement is to be read and signed by the investigator and by a representative of the investigator's institution. If applicable, the investigator should fill out the research staff form for any research staff member or student who will be accessing the data. This form should be signed by both the staff member or student and the investigator. If applicable, there are also forms for extending access to the restricted data and access for collaborating investigators at other institutions. In addition to the request forms, each user will need to read and sign the Acceptable Use Policy, or AUP, and the Pledge to Safeguard Respondent Confidentiality. Each user must also complete a data security plan for each location that they plan to access the restricted data. Most users opt to fill out one data security plan for their office and another for home. All forms should then be submitted electronically to NHATS Restricted Data at umich.edu using the subject heading Restricted Data Application. Each application will then be reviewed by NHATS staff. Following notice of approval, a countersigned DUA will be provided and access will be granted to the Michigan Center on the Demography of Aging Virtual Data Enclave. This tutorial was produced by Menyao Hu, Sarah Patterson, and Vicki Friedman with funding from the National Institute on Aging. This ends the Applying for NHATS Restricted Data web tutorial. Comments and questions may be sent to nhatsdata@westat.com.